life. Gonna hunt you down like an animal now. Better run like, ooh, I'm ready to go. Yeah, you already know. I'm feeling my flow. Yeah, it's about to blow. Tearing it up like a savage. Yeah, I'm ready for action. Everyone knows I'm the baddest. Yeah, it's about to happen.
Ain't nobody gonna stop me now. Ain't nobody gonna bring me down. Ain't nobody gonna stop me now. Ain't nobody gonna bring me down.
'Cause I'm bringing the fire.
Hey, so here we are. I'm joined by this guy up here, Redfox, and everyone knows this guy, Snick. So, hey, first off, welcome everybody. Here we are talking Iron Fury, and then what comes beyond Iron Fury. And so, one of the first things we'll talk about is building up to Iron Fury in terms of getting the player base ready. So, with that, what was some of the things that we were talking to players leading up to this event?
Readiness training.
Okay. In terms of what?
No, I mean all of it. Readiness training. Yeah, I mean readiness, physically training, mentally training, getting your gear and your equipment ready, training.
Yep.
Being
We
prepared
definitely
for the elements.
yeah, definitely. And we'll talk about weather here soon enough. That's a big one. I know that myself and coach talked about assault packs, what to bring on the field. And I know players were kind of shocked. But let's go back to the AO itself. And Snick, I give you all the credit, man. You found us a beautiful AO.
Heck yeah.
This and beyond, by the way. But I'll let you describe the AO best, man.
I mean, to me, after they scorched earth all the underbrush and everything, it really looked like something out of Eastern Europe over there. And then you add the elements of snow mixed with a little bit of wet and surrounded by water. I mean, it was very unique, very unique. But yeah, it kind of looked like a little bit of Eastern Europe over there.
For sure. Red, your thoughts on the AO, man?
That was an awesome AO. Having never experienced anything like that, that was just incredible. Like Snick said, you had so many different elements to prepare for that kind of an AO.
And then we had two AOs really. It's an event inside an event, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, which was a first for us in so many ways. All right, leading up to we'll let me get that going here so we can cut in and out of this video. Major help from Kukui on doing an excellent tier 1 video. Operation Trident.
Ooh, a cold, dusty Friday night.
Yeah. So the weather did cooperate with us. People were like, "It's too cold. I'm not going." What you guys think of the weather, man?
Honestly, it wasn't bad considering where we were at and the time of year.
Yeah. I think we got lucky. I think we had the weather. Snick, the whole time you were super positive in the build up to this. Sal, it's going to be 55 degrees. It's going to get warmer and warmer and warmer. And I was like, all right, brother, your faith. I have faith in your faith. We're going to go for it. And we get there Wednesday. There's still snow on the ground. I'm like, oh God. Pause that one right there. That's a good one to pick up off of.
Oh yeah.
And we get on the ground. Wednesday's cold. Thursday it's a little warmer. Friday it's getting warmer. I think 49 was the low. Saturday was 55 in the high. And actually it was like, all right, dropping down to t-shirts. There's one dude on Eastern's rocking a freaking t-shirt the whole time, the whole weekend, as a matter of fact. And then Then Sunday it was warm enough for us to get fog. And then right around index it was like, all right, a little bit of moisture.
Yeah, that
All
Sunday
right.
that Sunday lake effect was really cool.
Yeah, added a lot to it. Okay, so boats. Snick, dude, I'm gonna poke your brain so many times over, man. The feedback from the players, boats. Like,
I mean, Friday night it was dark, it was cold. They're loading up on boats, man. Um, I mean, you can see it right here. I mean, but this is the approach right here. Yeah, go ahead and roll this footage right here. This is pretty
okay,
much what we saw coming in. About 50 meters out, the beach just starts lighting up. Some buttholes got real puckered, and
Yeah.
others
yeah.
were like, "Yeah, let's do
Hey, so
this. Let's do
hold on. So
this."
your positioning, I keep thinking that normally you're a lane walker and you're
Yeah,
walking with
no,
us, right?
yeah, yeah.
And this time around, you're captaining a boat. You and Division are out there on the water, and Division
Yeah,
took
I
some.
know you got two army dudes out there on the water, right? Yeah, uh-huh.
Well, funny story. I learned this as a very young officer. It was, did you know the Army has more boats than the Navy has ships? And I went, what?
What?
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
That's wild.
interesting. I know it's a wild thing, isn't it? So, big piece there is, um, you guys had the eyes from the boat captain point of view, and so yeah, dude, I am very excited. Like you can hear the players on your boats. What was the feedback from them, dude?
They were like, I mean, like the mans, oh man, we hit the beach, we got to go, we're gonna get this done. I mean, yeah, here's the boats coming in right here on the video. Um, you know, I I was excited for them, man. Like, a lot of them were just like you can tell they were antsy as hell, and then we make land, and it doesn't take them long, man, and they hit that beach hard. I mean, they're running. I mean, that's like eight. I mean, it might not be but 8 inches of water, but they had to run through 8 feet of it, and here they come. Yeah, man, they were stoked. I mean, not really. One of them was bitching about the fact that they had to get their feet wet either.
No,
The,
no.
No.
where they're laying right now is where the water normally is. So the Car Lake was actually 8 foot lower than the average for the year. So I think about adding 8 foot more water. Yeah, they probably would not have gotten as wet as they did, but I don't think it would have been as epic either. To have that experience of storming a beach in low light, look at them,
Yeah.
blasting off the fucking tracer rounds and shit. I mean, this being a boat captain and watching this made me miss being a player, man. Like, damn. Like, I want to have that experience as a player. So I can only imagine what it was like to have that experience as a player.
So what is
Especially
exciting? What is exciting for me, and I'll let Red like really blow me away on this one. Him and Coach were like rigging the beach. Here I am, making sure check-ins going on, and oh, Sal, the beach is ready to go. Okay, great. I never got a chance to go out there and watch his rigging, and there I am standing next to Red, and it starts going off. Red, take it away from there, man.
Oh, it was awesome. So, coach is on a picnic bench about 100 meters away from us, and it's Sal and I sitting on a picnic bench, and we got the detonators, and it's just coach goes one, I go one, he goes one, I go one, and we're just if you look at that, it's one after the other after the other, and I look over at Sal, and Sal's like this. Just
Yeah,
complete awe of wow, this is what we're doing. And
yeah,
it was the coolest thing ever. And I'll tell you what, no one appreciated that more than our Marine Corps buddies doing an amphibious assault.
yeah. And then the flares and the smoke. So after the bombardment goes in, we're popping off smoke cans, we're popping off flares.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
You know, I I think anybody else around, like somewhere else around Car Lake, was watching, going, they're hearing the 30 cal go off, and they're just like, "What in the world is going on over there?" Um,
Oh, and they heard it.
Yeah, oh yeah. The company we rented the boats from, they're right across the lake. They were pretty amused at what we were doing that evening.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they
I'm
got a
laughing.
boat from across the
I'm
lake.
laughing because Kaylee, she's sitting on the other park bench on the other side on Green Beach. She's filming from her aspect.
Did
You
you
got,
guys watch that video of her?
yeah, people are coming through the smoke. I'm like, oh my god, So she's on one end of the beach, Kukui's on the other side. Um, so much video here, and of course, Sam's overhead with the camera with the UAV. So we've
Yep.
got so much of this, and we're going to get more and more of the media in the days ahead. Um, but just landing on the beach was the coolest thing ever.
I mean, me
Uh,
personally, having done 6 tier 1s as a player and seeing this, oh, a Snick, I'm with you. It really made me miss being a player because that was the ultimate right there. That was probably the best tier 1 entrance I've ever done.
and you got Jax on the other end doing the op four with the vehicles, and he'll tell you that was easily for him. The best. It was the best tier one ever done, and I'm like, wow, dude, and you were on the op four side of things. Um,
Yeah, and
you know,
he's got 20 plus tier 1s.
yeah, he's been doing them for a good while. One of you guys talked about. Hang on, there's something funny about this scene here. These guys are advancing towards the north point of the island. Something about a Top Gun volleyball game. I don't know, man. What did you? Who's?
So we had a young man. He come charging up from the north end of entrance 2, and we failed to mark off the volleyball net. And so, yeah, this young man comes running full blast. He's charging the beach, didn't see the volleyball net, and got clotheslined. I'm talking feet under ass on the ground. It was just hearing him explain it. It was just the funniest, most humbling thing he's ever experienced in his life.
Without a doubt, man. Um, I was like that happened.
Yeah,
Um, I ran into a volleyball net, and we're like, oh yeah, that was there.
yeah, he
Um,
clotheslined himself on that volleyball net.
so tier one's complete Friday night. Everybody's happy. Everybody had a lot of fun. Let me see if I can get Gator in here. Gator, can you hear us? Anyways, um, more later from Gator. Okay. Um, there we are, Saturday morning, getting everybody together. I think at this point we've got two boats supporting one side, two boats supporting the other. We've got Core Night Vision out there with his Raider uh, Zodiac. Way out west, I'll pull up the map here so it'll drive the discussion. It'll also talk about the end, what happened at the end. So we've got we've got out here in the yellow zone, we've got Cazo and the unconventional warfare stuff. Some great media is coming out of that now. I don't know if you guys saw it today of the checkpoints. And then you've got the main fight getting ready to happen in the east. So we've got two events going on simultaneous. One of the guys goes, I don't know how you guys did it. You put on two events at the same time. Something we've never done before. We tried it, but it was never in two completely geographically separate locations. All right, so
That unconventional warfare threw a lot of people for a loop.
it did.
It was that faction going on along at the same time as the unconventional.
Yeah, simultaneous operations. Snick, I know one we can show here in a minute. You're on the boats again Saturday. You were working Western, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's bring that one up. So we'll let this one loop a little bit. So Western's putting guys in, Eastern's putting guys in by boat. A lot of great fighting happening in the open areas, crossroad areas. Man, just so much going on over in the east. Where were you? Where did you spend your part of the day, Red, on
So
Saturday?
I spent the morning as the Eastern Talk Advisor.
Okay. What were they using their boats for? I know Werewolf had a pretty aggressive plan, but what was
He
his
did.
use?
His biggest plan was diversion. Get small fire teams on 2 boats and get them onto the beach to distract and draw attention to it while main forces were coming and flanking other positions. It was
And
more
it
of a
worked.
tactic.
So it worked very well.
Yeah. In fact,
Werewolf. Go ahead.
this footage that you're watching right now, I actually watched it. If he was to pan left, I know you can't, but if this was live footage and he pans left, uh, the boat dock and everything for Western was right there on that leftern side. So I got to watch these 2 boats right here, land troopers and reinforced, which I think is the airborne element for Eastern. I think that was their little cove they made home the rest of the
Yes.
weekend right there. So I got to
So
watch that boat landing live. I think, at the start of the game Saturday morning, I think Eastern damn sure utilized the boats a whole lot better than Western. Probably
so
because Western didn't do it until they didn't put anybody on a boat. It took them about an hour and a half to wrangle up some troopers to put people on boats.
so then the next one is Coach was over at Tres Puntos, which is just across the east from the Eastern Talk Alpha Alpha. He's over on the beach there, and there's a funny story he had to tell me on the net. He goes, "Hey, you have all of the Eastern Command watching one of their UAVs landing right outside their talk, and they're like, yeah, we just don't know where they're landing their boats." And then they, nobody stares across the bay as Western's landing troops at 3 points, like 200 meters away off to their east. They'll never live that down because it was just hilarious. It was like you had eyes in the sky, you had Lurse on the ground, and right in front of you, boats are hitting and landing. Um, I, it happens. It's when more mill to the sim. Like we've seen things happen in the military. It actually happens in a game. It's hilarious.
I
Um,
think one of the things the Eastern had done right, especially on Saturday, at any given time, they had 2 UAVs airborne. They had an entire UAV squad of 3 drones, and they would rotate to make sure at least 2 were in the sky at all time.
Yeah, and Western only had one that was really tactical at the Ripper. I think it was Task Force Ripper or Easy Company. Only one UAS system at the company level, so they were deficient, man. It's been something they have to work on, for
And
sure.
that was something that Eastern clearly had dialed in on that event.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then vehicle wise, you had Western with 3 Vics, AJ6, and 2 UTVs, and Eastern had uh, Joker from Players Wanted, and Jax with the FUPA. You know, but man, roadbound, totally roadbound, and they kept clashing pretty much from Collins down to Davie. Um, and we saw some on Sunday. Me and you, Red, were sitting there on Route Neptune, in that sunken road, going, "Huh, this is a good position. It's a
This is
nice
where it's
sunken
at.
road.
Yeah,
They
this is
just
where
got
the
to.
fight's going
They
to go.
just have to get here." Um, you know, and this AO really lended it. So you had dense woodland, but not dense underbrush.
Yeah.
You know, um, you had people getting a little lost. You had Fredo Bay, and you had the False Fred, which is the little cove to the north. They were confused. They were confusing the two. I told them to land at Fredo, and I said, no, that's not where they landed. The boat captain said, "Oh, okay, put you in there." I laughed when you guys were playing like, divisions playing sea shanties in his boat. You know,
Yes.
so so much hilarity there. Guys who got on the boats had a lot of fun. Um, yeah, Western yes, they were outnumbered by 47 players on Saturday. They picked up the difference on Sunday because they got their soft and their guerrilla fighters over with them. Um,
Yeah,
I,
on Sunday you really couldn't. You didn't feel the difference in the size numbers. Sunday was definitely an all-out brawl.
yeah, it was punch and counter punch, man. Um, I don't know, man. When I know Western, I know Ripper, Task Force Ripper was really used and abused, but this event definitely made Ripper, just like Royal Rifles in previous events. This one kind of really put Ripper on the map because they were in the thick. I know they're pretty salty, but it's okay. Um,
But they raised to the level. I mean, you're going to raise or crumble, and I feel like they raised. So
They did absolutely.
Yeah. Anti-armor in this one. Red, you saw probably a hell of a lot more than I did, man. What you think about the anti-armor use here?
There was a lot of Collins. I think brought forth some of the most intense battle play I've seen ever, and just watching, like you said, the anti-armor. I mean, just the rocket launch and the somebody had a TA-50, all the tag-in rounds, all the lob grenades. I mean, it was intense. I mean, there were companies that had 20 plus Vic kills on the record for the weekend.
Yeah. I know Phil, who runs with Tactical, he was getting in excess of 100 meters, or excuse me, 100 feet with his launcher, his AT4.
That was cool.
Yeah. I know Jax got quite a few kills. The dismounts, though, this event saw anti-armor by dismounts being far effective.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So this wasn't Viking where the streets were swept clean by guys tossing them out of windows and tossing them off roofs. This wasn't GTI where the guys are getting up close. This was guys in the wood line staying low in a trench and pickling it or getting a shot off at
or
distance.
even sacrificing themselves, just running out there and just lobbing a grenade to kill a Vic.
Yeah.
We definitely saw that.
I was trying to find the photo of the gunner AJ6 who got turned pink.
Yeah,
that was not a close shot. That was a ranged hit. And it was really amazing to watch it go off. So yeah, man, the dismounts with the anti-armor. We also saw landmines get used. The trip mines being used on the roads. So yeah, man, this event, just because I think the terrain was good. To players that missed it, what can you tell them, man?
I mean, you said it. You missed it.
You missed it. You missed it. No, it's coming again. Don't miss it again.
Don't miss it again because it's going to get bigger. The slide I got up from the Third Coast News Network with our high-speed reporter Mike Murphy on the ground. He's taking some of those great shots you see on that slide. Okay, so this game ended with Western supporting the Free Hibernian Resistance. They're holding Cazo and Cazoville, so that big yellow province on the west side of the map. And then way on the east, Task Force Raven, Bubba, Sisu, and the crew, they were actually on the ground doing some really interesting patrolling. They literally took off from the Alpha. They walked in the fog. Apparently walked right past me and you, Red. We were sitting on that sunken road on Neptune. They went behind us, like crossing a linear danger area, like to the Ranger standard, and got over to Bow Beach. 30 minutes before index, and they held Bow Beach. So next year, this game picks up with Cazoville being in the Western hands, and Bow Beach being in Western hands. But don't worry, Eastland will be held by West. So a whole other park on the other side of the lake. Then you have Grayland, which is going to be another country that doesn't support West or East. They hate everybody. They're going to want to be left alone. And then you have Hibernia, which, Eastern Empire is clearly holding. So next year, 3 parks. I think Snick's convinced me boats, a bus, and a helicopter.
On a ferry.
You know, yeah, it's just, what are you always saying, man? There's so much
More
room
milk
for
in the sim.
more meal to the sim and so much room for activities.
Or
Um,
go home.
so, all right. So this one,
Yeah, why not? Why not? Why
why
not?
not? All right. So going forward to the next thing, and what can we take to the next event? People ask us all the time. You guys build event to event. So here we are. Um, Stonebreaker 2025,
Stonebreaker.
the 11th in the series, our second oldest event after Starburst. Um, the one that got us going on the East Coast way back in 15. Um, what can players bring from Fury to Stonebreaker?
I think a mindset of preparation.
Yep.
I mean, it's a different AO. It's smaller in size, but you still have to be prepared for the elements.
Okay. Snick.
A buy-in. You know, the more you know about what you're supposed to do, the more fun you're going to have doing it.
Yep. So unit buy-in. We talked about. Hey, don't be a turd. Buy into your unit. Buy into the unit history. Buy into. I'm not saying go get a unit tattoo. We're not Ferris. Okay. But
We're not Marines. We're not Marines here.
hey, I do know a guy in Texas who has K-Force tattooed on his arm, but neither here nor there. Anyways, so buy-in, preparation. Okay, this is another AO that you can go from a wood line to urban structures pretty quick. 8 objectives spread out from the far west of the map all the way to the eastern boundary of the map. We do now have access to the storage yard that's just south of the barracks. So the guys who know this AO, hey, big change right there. We have a whole other piece that we haven't used since what, 18? Since 2018. So that AO goes into effect. Then we have the Huey.
Oh,
So
that's a game
Snick,
changer right there.
Snick, what are we doing with the Huey, man? Tell people what to expect there.
Whatever the fuck we want to, it's a Huey.
Credence intensifies. So post-flight mission, of course. So
Yeah, we
get
do
up. Somebody got excited.
Sorry.
So
Come on.
9-man chocks.
Sorry.
So up in the air, no worries.
Bigger shocks. I mean, you got to watch out for the firepower from the sky now.
Yep.
So,
Overhead
ahead.
cover over there at GTI either. So if you're exposed, expect to get shot.
Yep. Red.
Sal, as an air assault commander, if you can give a little detail about what a chalk is.
It's the number of personnel on a bird at one time. So 9-man chocks. Usually you have a 4-man chalk when you're on a little bird. So we're upping it. We're practically doubling the size on the bird.
Yep.
So a 9-man chalk. Getting around the AO and then flying to an offset LZ, going in for a post-flight mission. I would strongly recommend, if you have a radio and you get on your command frequency, probably want to call out things you see to your boss on the ground.
Give some actionable intel.
Yeah. UAS is great, but UAS really doesn't help anybody except for the guy who's sitting there watching the screen. If you're in Chaos Company and you're on an Eastern Chalk, it would behoove you to tell Chaos 6, hey, man, you got Muldoons all over Lola, or you got Muldoons all over Betty. And then, because once you land, you're not going back to the fight. You got to do a post-flight mission. So your currency with your eyes is as good as when you're in the air. My recommendation. Tier 1's coach has worked on a mounted Tier 1 and a dismounted Tier 1. So, yeah. The mounted guys, 3 VICs with dismounts getting on and off the vehicles. He's got a plan for that. And then for the dismounted platoon, it's it's GTI. We're going to use the whole damn AO. So stretch, work on your cardio, wear comfortable shoes. Tactics wise, you've mentioned a couple of things, Snick. Overhead cover, it clearly lacks here, right? Uh, what else comes to mind as a player goes from like Viking to Fury to Stonebreaker? Like what is universal beyond buy-in and kit?
Illumination, like illumination. And that works in several different areas. Not only do you need to see to move around, but people need to see you, especially those that you don't want you to shoot you in the ass, like your buddy.
Right.
So like how you mark yourself and like how you whether it's a chem light or you're putting blue painter's tape or green painter's tape over your white lights. Um,
Yeah.
like little tricks of the trade like that. So illumination, like what we're getting right now, I think is 0 lume for Friday night.
Yeah. It's like
That's pretty rough.
15% max. Yeah. It'll be dark.
That's rough. That's rough.
Uh,
Even the odds are gonna have a hard time seeing in that.
yeah. Red,
So, I mean,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
like same question to you, man. You going from Crossbones to Viking to Fury to Stonebreaker. Like what do they what else should players consider?
I mean, you're talking extreme to extreme to extreme, to be honest. Especially going from the last one, Iron Fury, which is more woodland, and now you're in a structured environment, not necessarily urban, where you're going house to house. But we're talking building to building, and some of these buildings, people love to get in there and just get embedded in those buildings. So yeah, having illumination not just outside but indoors as well, because some of these buildings are not lit at all inside.
No.
People like to get in the jock, like you say, and get their airsoft on.
Yeah. And one of the questions is, Sal, are there going to be objectives inside the building? Yeah, it's GTI. You have to put some kind of objective in the building. A lot of these buildings are what we would call pass-throughs. I need to go from point A to point B in reasonably good cover and concealment. Snick just mentioned you don't have much cover from the air. If we put a roof in play, you got to have some kind of concealment from observation. UAVs are overhead when the helicopter's not flying. So yeah, a lot of these buildings become pass-throughs, but you don't want to get distracted from where you're supposed to end up. And we've seen that a lot.
And that's where objectives come into play.
Yeah.
More so than just the building itself.
Yeah. And so, like, you guys don't put a lot of objectives inside buildings. Of course not. That doesn't mean there's not going to be any action in there. It just means that if the enemy's got you pinned in a building, that you're supposed to move to the other side. Whose game are you playing?
Yeah, get out of the building and move around.
Yeah. So Jake Smith had a great question. Any more events after the one in March? Maybe, of course. June, we're working on a location. July, we'll be over at Muscatatuck with Centurion. A very different experience, but one that's a lot of fun. September, maybe somewhere that we've been there before. Maybe a Bone Crusher / Crossbones. Obviously Starburst in Fort Hood in October, and then Serious Viking in December. So we'll announce definite dates, hard dates, once we have hard dates with the leaseholders of those locations. So to answer Jake Smith's question. 2K asked where he wanted to know where Hibernia was. It was in Hibernia State Park, the Car Lake recreational areas. So yeah. Okay, so the excitement for Stonebreaker 11 continues. People haven't gotten their tickets. They need to get their tickets because that one does sell out. We won't add any more tickets once they're gone. Best parts of, we've all played at GTI before. What's your best particular spot? And we'll start with Red.
I like a lot of the outlier locations, kind of the woodland stuff. When you get outside of some of the buildings and there's tree lines, you get a lot of activity, a lot of fighting going on to maintain ground. When you start getting into some of the buildings, you got the courtyard, which is there's always a battle over the courtyard, which is always fun, especially when you got air support, you got fire coming in from the air. It always leads to some great action.
Snick, you've been there for various events, not just TCA. What's your favorite spot on the map?
Sitting from the gunner's seat of the Humvee, sir.
Of course.
This will blow a lot of players away. My favorite part is the wooden kill house.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is my favorite spot on the map. Just because a lot of the epic moments in airsoft history have been had there. From a player in the fetal position on the floor as the 50 cal's firing from the AJ6. He's like, I swear they're shooting BBs, man, and he's literally like curled up on the floor. I was like, I'm like, do I have the heart to tell him it doesn't shoot BBs? No. He was having a great moment. And then me and another staff member grabbing blank pistols at the end of the event, clearing it, just having a pistol arrow shootout. And then a lot of people don't remember AMS when they did Faded Giant there. I had a blast with the 2 Faded Giants I went to with Junkies. So, my best part, 2 of my favorite places are the I call it everybody calls it the murder house. It's the house right outside the jock, the back loading dock building, the one with the grates on the floor, and then the wooden kill house. Those are my favorite 2. But yeah, I players all have their own favorite spots at GTI. And of course, when you're dressed like a Franciscan friar and you're walking all over the AO, that's always fun. But anyways, okay, hey, thanks guys for coming on. Tell the players what they should do next.
Have fun.
Say again, Stick?
Oh,
you came in garbled.
Read the op order.
Oh, read the op order. Hey, so yeah, I think with that's a perfect moment to say, hey, read the op order, review the rules, and hopefully we'll see everybody at Stonebreaker. So, all right, guys. Hey, from TCA staff. Hey, thanks, and support your local fields and call your damn hits. All right, out of here.